Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer. The feature race at Belmont on Saturday is the Pebbles Stakes. 200 grander going a mile on the Widener turf. This race for 3-year-old fillies. Before we get started, I want to remind everybody, perfect complement to your DRFPPs is the DRF Clocker Report, presented by Mike Welsh and his team. Single card start at $12.95. You obviously save with a weekly subscription. You get these clocker reports throughout the entire Belmont fall meet. Invaluable information for first-time starters, long layoff runners, European invaders, and we have a European invader in this year's edition of the Pebbles. Here's the field for the Pebbles Stakes. Again, 200 grander going a mile on the turf. 3 to 5 morning line favorite, but don't be fooled. That's the 7 Bolera, entered for main track only for Todd Pletcher. We don't want to see her. We want to see these 3-year-old fillies compete on the main track. And I want to start with the Timeform US pace projector for this race. I'm not sure Seek and Destroy is making the lead, Mike. I mean, I know she was on the lead too back in the Wild Applause when nobody wanted it, but isn't the horse on the rail, a la Sayil, just on a ascend mission? And if not, isn't the number 2 Blowout going to go to the lead, even though Brian Beer, your brother, would have an absolute apoplectic stroke if Blowout makes the lead again?
Yeah. You know what? I suspect that Chad doesn't want either of his fillies on the lead in this race. I agree with you. I think the 1 is going from the rail draw here, and that horse will cut the pace. And Chad's 2 will try and track that horse.
Let's start with a la Sayil, who has not raced since July the 5th. A winner of an allowance race at Belmont, going a mile and a 16th. This horse just took command from the start. Great ride from Luis Saez. Back down the fractions while on an uncontested lead, and just has enough left to hold off Alti, who's starting to get a habit of running second. Alti came out of this race to run third with an 83 buyer. She's entered on Friday at Belmont. You might want to see how she does before you make your final determination with a la Sayil. Stakes placed filly, got to do a little better, I think, in here.
I think she'll have to take a step forward, but she took a step forward in that race we just watched. So maybe she could improve again. Getting loose on the lead in this race would be a good thing for her, Dan. I don't think she's untalented. I just wonder if she's ready to beat a field like this right now.
The 2 Blowout, the 6 Feel Glorious. They exit the Grade 2 Lake Placid Stakes with an absolute thriller. And we turn to the stretch of that race, and Blowout was on the lead. They're going 26-1, 51 through a torrential downpour at Saratoga. Blowout was game to be beaten by a neck. You and I thought she had things all her own way, as she did in the Lake George. Your brother Brian Beer says she needs a target.
Yeah, it's not a position I can get behind. This filly's had 2 pretty soft trips on the lead in her last 2 races, and just hasn't been good enough to hold on. Not that she's run poorly, but finding a couple of horses that are just better than she is. If you just break down her record, Dan, she's run 6 times with only 2 wins, but she is right there every single time. She just makes a lot of sense in this race. I can't say I'm a huge fan of hers, but she makes a ton of sense in here.
And again, she's tactical, and I think she's going to let the 1 go, and I think she's going to try to sit under Johnny V. And listen, she's run fast races. As you mentioned, she's consistent. She wouldn't mind a little give in the ground. She's very dangerous. I'm not sure I want to take 9 to 5. I don't see such an edge. The 3 is Eye in the Sky, stretching out from 5.5 to a mile. That is not an easy stretch out, even for a great trainer like Mark Casse. Let's watch the Galway at Saratoga going 5.5 furlongs. We're going to see her in the pink silks. Nice ride from Joel Rosario, getting a clear run, turning into the stretch. And now Eye in the Sky is just going to come with a run. She's got the white blaze on the outside, pink silks again, and she just runs by these horses. But to me, when I watch this horse, I see late running turf sprinter.
Well, that's been her game so far. She's won 4 times in her career, all of them sprinting. And she just hasn't really shown that she wants to stretch out yet. We'll see if she can do it now. I will say the last 2 efforts from her, the best races she's ever run. So this is the right time to try and stretch her out again.
First start of the year for Seek and Destroy came back in May, and I thought she looked good, although I think circumstances kind of helped her out. While she looped outside, Feel Glorious was sort of stuck down towards the inside and never really got a clear run. Seek and Destroy won it. They came back in the Wild Applause. Seek and Destroy made the lead. It was a very disappointing effort, I thought, for her going a mile. I didn't know what we were going to get at Woodbine in the Ontario Colleen. I think she found a field she wanted. Remember, this is the inner turf, a 2-turn mile at Woodbine. Woodbine. She's in the green silks. She sat a great pocket trip. She eases out, and she's going to come get this horse on the lead, a horse that probably doesn't want to go this far. That third-place finisher, Sister Peacock, came back to run third in the Galway that we just saw, sprinting with an 87 buyer. But she has the ability to get these kind of trips, and I think Seek and Destroy just looks like another logical Chad Brown train runner.
Yeah, I thought so too. I liked that win from her right there. I know it was a weaker field, but I liked the way that she finished it off. And I did think that, along with everything that went right for her when she won the Soaring Softly off the layoff, I did think she took a step forward in that race. I think when you go back and watch the race 2 back to Wild Applause, it's pretty hard to really want her over Blowout, because Blowout beat her pretty easily. But I could see this horse running better if they just take her off the pace again. I think she wants to sit.
The 5 Passing Out doesn't have figs, but she's got 2 things going for her. A, Shug McGahee, Hall of Fame trainer. These horses improve with experience and distance. And B, just a visually impressive win in an optional claimer at the Spa. Let's turn into the stretch. She is way in the back of the pack, white hat, down towards the inside, nowhere to go. Jose Ortiz just waiting, nowhere to go. Waiting, nowhere to go. We're saying, okay, she could run maybe 4th here and we'll follow her next time out. But wait a minute, Jose finds a hole. Here comes Passing Out. Passing Out wins from an almost impossible spot, and not only does she win, she wins in hand. Something tells me she's pretty good. Now, does she have to move forward? Obviously, but she's not facing All Along in the Pebbles on Saturday.
Yeah, true enough. It's not the greatest field in the world. Well, see, she wasn't facing anything in that race we just watched. That was not a good field. Listen, I have a thing for this horse. I think she's going to turn out to be pretty good. We also saw a replay of her start 2 back when the horse on the rail beat her, and she was just really no match in that race. The thing with that race we just watched last time is that's really only a tough trip if you get stopped.
True enough.
And she never got stopped. And then once it opened up for her, she was there. I'll give her credit for getting it done. I wonder if this is the right time to take a shot with her, Dan. I think she has to improve by a lot to beat this field.
Now, Mike, the 6 Field Glorious, I think, has been a little bit unlucky in some of her races. I want you to take the folks through her races after she won that Memories of Silver, because that Memories of Silver, she was really good that day at Aqueduct. There was no pace. She had to come real wide into the stretch, and she was game to beat Blowout that day. What's gone on since then?
Well, I mean, things haven't gone great for her. I really thought her first 2 starts over here were really good efforts. And the Soaring Softly, when Seek and Destroy beat her, to put it bluntly, she just got a bad ride from Eric Cancel. He decided to stay on the rail with her for some reason, and then it just never opened up for her. She was probably best that day, even though she didn't win. After that, her races aren't great. I will say that she didn't do that much running in the Wild Applause. I think we have the replay of the Lake Placid that we can throw up there. Did we already look at that?
Yeah, we looked at that one already.
She was just last in that race. She didn't really have any chance from where she was. She was racing on at the end, Dan. Yeah, I don't know. I'm still a fan of hers. I think she can win this race, but I've been disappointed in her last 2 efforts.
If you're looking for a classy, well-bred European import that's faced top company, look no further than East, who completes this field. First time with Christophe Clement. This is a daughter of the great racehorse, the great stallion Frankel. We've seen East. She ran second to Newspaper of Record when Newspaper of Record was Newspaper of Record last year in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Filly Turf, and she did so after breaking from basically an impossible post position. And in her first start this year, what does she do? She runs third in the French 1,000 Guineas. So it looks like she's going places. Her last 2 races, for some reason, she's just been pulling. She's been rank. She's been eager. She hasn't been able to settle in these races. That worries me somewhat. But look at the horses she was in against last time out in the Rothschild. Lawrence came back to run second in a Group 2. The runner-up came back to run second in the Group 1 Prix-Jean Romanet. She's been facing top horses. Clement gets Lasix back on her.
Yeah, she's probably the right horse in here. I don't know. I struggled with it, Dan, because she was a good 2-year-old. I thought her first start of the year this year, I thought she ran well that day. She's basically done no running in her last 2 starts. So maybe it's just a situation where she needs the Lasix to go back on. I don't know. I wound up not picking her. I guess you got to use her, though. I'm not thrilled with her, but She makes a lot of sense in here.
I'm with you. I picked her second. I'll use her in multis. I want to watch and see what we get. Maybe she'll stretch out. Let's take a look at our top pick for the Pebbles Stakes. We landed on Seek and Destroy. Again, she had a nice trip last time out, but I think she kicked home strongly in the lane. She's won over one turn, two turns. It doesn't seem to matter. She's got enough tactical speed. I think she'll work out a trip. I went 4-8-2-3.
I have the same four numbers as you, 4-8-2-3. I just took this horse because, as opposed to some of the others whose most recent races I don't like, I actually liked her last start.
The Pebbles, the feature race at beautiful Belmont Park. Race number 10 is an approximate post of 5:57 Eastern. Good luck.